It's my privilege to heartily welcome our Honorable Vice Chairperson, Ma'am Anjali Jaipuria, our dear Principal, Ma'am Promni Chopra, respected Vice Principal, Ma'am Asha Chadha, distinguished guests, dear teachers, and my fellow students. Welcome back to the second session of Igniting Young Souls. Albert Einstein once said, and I quote, "Only one who devotes himself to a cause with his whole strength and soul can be a true leader." Unquote. Today, we will be delivering the speeches of those leaders who have helped and contributed in making our nation proud. These distinguished leaders portray the qualities of integrity, accountability, and vision. Mahatma Gandhi rightly said that we will never be able to find happiness outside when there is bitterness in our own heart. Therefore, we must understand to retain a sense of proportion is as important as being able to keep one's heart free from hatred. All the speeches that are going to be delivered today are orated by great visionaries who have put in their thoughts which throw light on the patriotic feelings. Today, we are going to deliver the speeches of those leaders who had and have clear goals, but were and are still open to alternative perspectives. They cared and care about the people who worked and work with them, but were and are capable of making hard decisions when necessary. They were and are self confident without being loud, aggressive, or even dominating. Gandhiji never forced his teachings on others unless he followed what he preached. Therefore, we can surely say that leaders are the ones who develop a change in themselves that they wish to see in others. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, a man of impeccable character, invincible spirit, in depth knowledge, and firm conviction, believed that India has to achieve self reliance and confidence in order to become a developed nation. He encouraged young minds to be creative, innovative, and to pursue their dreams wholeheartedly. He once said that he is convinced that the power of youth, if properly directed, will bring about transformed humanity by meeting its challenges and bring peace and prosperity in the nation. He said that we will be remembered only if we give to our younger generation a prosperous and safe India, resulting out of economic prosperity coupled with civilizational heritage. Dr. Kalam had also written a book called Ignited Minds, which gave the message of moving ahead in life even if difficulties block the way. Therefore, we must feel and understand the real motives of all these leaders and embark upon a journey which can result to make India a prosperous country. To begin, I would like to call upon Zoya Khan of class 8 to share her views on the session.
मेरी यह धारणा है कि जब हम इन महान व्यक्तित्वों की व्याख्यान सुनते हैं एवं दोहराते हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं कुछ बातें ऐसी होती हैं जो हमारे हृदय और मस्तिष्क में गहरी छाप छोड़ जाती हैं। उनका हम पर गहरा असर पड़ता है। वे ना सिर्फ हमें एक नई दिशा दिखाती हैं, हमारे जीवन को एक नया उद्देश्य भी देती हैं और तो और हमारी नकारात्मक सोच को सकारात्मक सोच बनाती हैं। जब हम इन महानुभावों के पद चिन्हों पर चलने का प्रयास करते हैं तो हमें बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिलता है। हम भाग्यशाली हैं कि हमें ऐसे माता पिता मिले हैं जो हमें एक सुंदर भविष्य देने में समर्थ हैं। यदि हम इतिहास के पन्नों को पलट कर देखें तो जिन जिन भाषणों को आज हम एक प्रेरणा का स्रोत मानते हैं वे अनेक कठिनाइयों से जूझते हुए सफल बने। किसी के जीवन में अत्यधिक दुख था तो किसी के जीवन में कठिन श्रम, लेकिन उन्होंने हार नहीं मानी और हर चुनौती का डट कर सामना किया। इनसे हमें यही सीख मिलती है कि कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती। लहरों से डरकर नौका पार नहीं होती, नौका पार नहीं होती।
Thank you, Zoya. Now I would like to call upon Sarthak Mishra of class 7th to introduce our beloved Ma'am Anjali Jaipuria.
Ma'am Anjali Jaipuria, Vice Chairperson, Integral Education Society and Chairperson, Navsrijan Education Society, is an educationist with the vision for fundamental change in the Indian educational system. She combines her love for Vedic wisdom and its relationship with needs of economic, social, and political conditions of today, creating contemporary e-learning materials. She studies Sri Aurobindo's and the Mother's evolutionary work, integral yoga, and educational reform, the Vedas, the Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita. She has been teaching the Bhagavad Gita in the light of Sri Aurobindo to a group of aspirants since 2015. Ma'am has introduced out of the box projects from grade 5 to grade 9 aimed at raising the consciousness of her students. These projects have been covered in the webpage of Fred Mednick, Teachers Without Borders, and Johns Hopkins University. To fulfill her dream of giving level playing field for all children, in 2003, Ma'am started Navshrijan, an English medium school for the underversed, imparting the same education as State MR Japuria School to 300 students at present who are living on the margins of poverty. With the help of Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Ma'am created Dev Bhasha, a conversational Sanskrit curriculum which was introduced in 2003 as the third language from pre-primary to grade 8. Dev Bhasha has been instrumental in instilling values in students in a never before way. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarthak. Now I would like to take permission from Ma'am Anjali Jaipuria so that we can start this session.
Please begin the session. Jai Shri Ganesh.
Let's
Please
now begin with the speeches of the great leaders. First, we have Aviral Khanna of class 7C, who will be delivering the speech of the first female IPS officer, Kiran Bedi.
Thank you, Pragati. Good morning to my respected teachers and my dear Jaipurians. I, Avril Khanna of class 7C, has chosen Kiran Bedi's speech. When I was born, 50s and 60s didn't belong to girls in India. They belonged to boys who would join business and inherit business from their parents. And girls would be dolled up to get married. My family was unique. We were four of us, all girls, and fortunately no boys. My father defied his own grandfather because he decided to educate all four of us. He sent us to one of the best schools in the city and gave us the best education. Two things that I learned and followed from my parents were life is on an incline. You either go up or you come down. Second thing, that became the philosophy of my life and made all the difference. 100 things happen in your life, out of which 90 are your own creation. If they are good, enjoy them. If they are bad, then learn from it. 10 are nature sent, over which you can't do anything. I changed the prison into ashram through education. A meditation program was held inside the prison. Over 1,000 prisoners sat for meditation. And this was one of the courageous steps I took. I took the same concept in police because they were also the prisoners of their mind. And crime is the product of distorted mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Aviral. Now we have with us Ekansh Singh of class 8D, who will be delivering Swami Vivekananda's Chicago oration.
Good morning, everyone. I am Ekansh Singh of Class 8D, and today I'll be delivering Swami Vivekananda's speech, which he spoke on the First World Parliament of Religions. Sisters and brothers of America, it fills my heart with joy unspeakable to rise in response to the warm and cordial welcome which you have given us. I thank you in the name of the most ancient modern order of monks in the world. I thank you in the name of all mother of religions. And I thank you in the name of millions and millions of Hindu people of all classes and sects. I am proud to belong to a religion which has taught the world both tolerance and universal acceptance. We believe not only in universal toleration, but we accept all religions as true. I am proud to belong to a nation which has sheltered the persecuted and the refugees of all religions and all nations of the earth. The present Vindication Convention, which is one of the most august assemblies ever held, is in itself a vindication, a declaration to the world of the wonderful doctrine preached in the Gita. Whosoever comes to me, through whatsoever form I reach him. All men are struggling through paths which in the end lead to me. Sectarianism, bigotry, and its horrible descendant, fanaticism, have long possessed this beautiful earth. They have filled the earth with violence, dredged it often and often with human blood, destroyed civilization, and sent whole nations to despair. Had it not been for these horrible demons, the society would be far more advanced than it is now. But their time has come, and I fervently hope that the bell that told us this morning in hour of this convention may be the death knell of all fanaticism, of all persecutions, with the sword or with the pen, and of all uncharitable feelings between persons building their way to the same goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Ekansh. We now have Arti Kashyap of class 8 from Nafrijan, who will deliver the speech of our second Prime Minister, Shri Lal Bahadur Shastri.
Good morning, everyone. I, Aarti Kashyap of Class 8 Nafrijan, feel honored to present before you a speech by prestigious Lal Bahadur Shastri ji. Lal Bahadur Shastri was a great political leader. Also, he was a famous freedom fighter of India. He was a true follower of simple living, high thinking. The whole nation was on the path of development under Lal Bahadur Shastri's leadership. I feel honored in presenting before you the first Independence Day speech in 1964 by Lal Bahadur Shastri. We can win respect in the world only if we are strong internally and can banish poverty and unemployment from our country. Above all, we need national unity. Communal, provincial, and linguistic conflicts weaken the country. Therefore, we have to forge national unity. I appeal to all to work for national unity and usher in a social revolution to make our country strong. In the ultimate analysis, the strength of the country does not lie in its material wealth alone. It requires people like Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, and Rabindranath Tagore. It requires the force of character and moral strength. I appeal to our young men to inculcate discipline in themselves, discipline and work for the unity and advancement of the nation. During the Indo-Pakistan War in 1965, Shastri gave the undying slogan Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, which continues to inspire every Indian even today. Shastriji is an inspiration for me. He was left an orphan in his childhood and attained education in adverse conditions. He went on to become the Prime Minister of this great nation, India. Similarly, I desire to study hard, however challenging the conditions may be, and aspire to serve the nation with the same honesty and integrity. Thank you.
Thank you, Arti. Next is Anushka Pal of class 9th from Nafrijan, who will be delivering the oration of our great leader, also called the Iron Man of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel.
I am Anushka Pal of class 9 Nafrijan. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, popularly known as the Iron Man of India, was one of India's towering leaders whose contribution to the Indian Republic is immense. Sardar Patel was one of the most eminent and prominent leaders of Indian freedom struggle. He has immense contribution in bringing independence to our country. It is a great honor to present before you the speech by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, which was given on 12th February 1949 at Islands Ground, Madras, Chennai, India. After a prolonged struggle, the country has secured freedom, but it is not freedom of the kind that we wanted. It is not freedom of the kind that the deliverer of the country expected. And to our shame, we have to confess that by our folly, we have lost him. Now, after his going, we must do penance and try our best to deserve the freedom that he obtained for us. Free India is only a child of a year and a half. It has yet to learn to walk. It has to grow to be strong, and its future depends upon how we build it. Therefore, we have to nurse it carefully. We have to feed, clothe, and strengthen it properly. It is a great good fortune that we have here a rare opportunity to build our own country in our own fashion. History will record what we are doing today. The first requisite for building a strong, free India is unity and peace. Therefore, we have to maintain peace and harmony in the country. We have to behave in such a manner that there is complete harmony in the country. You cannot expect the government continuously to maintain peace by force. It would be an evil day when, in this country, the government has to use repressive measures permanently. Today, we are passing through a period of crisis, and our young men have, in their impatience, not realized that the freedom which has been obtained with great difficulty is likely to be lost or likely to give no benefit, no advantage, if we do not appreciate that our present duty is to unite and consolidate our freedom. Thank you.
Thank you, Anushka. We now have Praveen Kumar of class 9th from Nafrijan, who will be delivering the recital of our former Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru.
गुड आफ्टरनून टीचर्स। मैं प्रवीण कुमार कक्षा 9 नफरीजन का छात्र हूं। मैं आप लोगों के सामने 15 अगस्त 1947 मध्यरात्रि को पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी द्वारा दिए गए ओजस्वी भाषण को प्रस्तुत करने जा रहा हूं। नेति द्वारा नियत दिन आ गया है। भारत लंबे संघर्ष के बाद जागृत, जीवंत, स्वतंत्र खड़ा है। हम जो प्रतिज्ञा करते आए हैं उसे निभाने के लिए हमें बहुत कुछ करना होगा। अब निर्णायक बिंदु भी अतीत हो चुका है। हमारे लिए एक नवीन इतिहास शुरू हो गया है, जिस इतिहास को हम बनाएंगे या हम भारतवासियों के लिए, पूरे एशिया के लिए और दुनिया के लिए सौभाग्यपूर्ण क्षण होगा। हम उस स्वतंत्रता का आनंद लेंगे जिनमें हमारे चारों ओर आजादी के साथ जिम्मेदारियां भी आएंगी और हमें उनका स्वतंत्र और अनुशासित भाव से सामना करना पड़ेगा। हम सर्वप्रथम इस स्वतंत्रता के वास्तुकार हमारे राष्ट्रपिता महात्मा गांधी जी को नमन करते हैं, जिन्होंने स्वतंत्रता की मशाल को उठाया और हम पर छाए हुए अंधेरे को दूर कर भारत के पुराने गौरव को स्थापित किया। हम कभी भी इस स्वतंत्रता की मशाल को बुझने नहीं देंगे, चाहे कितनी तेज तूफानी आंधी आ जाए। हम उन अज्ञात स्वयं सेवकों और सैनिकों को भी नमन करते हैं, जिन्होंने बिना प्रशंसा या इनाम की चाह के जीवन पर्यंत भारत भूमि की सेवा की है। हम हमारे उन भाइयों और बहनों के लिए भी चिंतित हैं जो राजनीतिक सीमाओं के कारण हमसे कट गए हैं और जो दुर्भाग्यवश वर्तमान में मिली स्वतंत्रता को साझा नहीं कर सकते। भविष्य हमारी ओर देख रहा है। हमें किधर जाना है, हमारे क्या प्रयास होने चाहिए। भारत के आम आदमी हेतु समृद्ध लोकतंत्र, प्रगतिशील राष्ट्र द्वारा सामाजिक, आर्थिक और राजनीतिक संस्थाएं बनाए जो हर व्यक्ति के लिए न्याय और जीवन की परिपूर्णता को सुनिश्चित करे। हमारे आगे का काम कठिन है। हम में से कोई आराम नहीं कर सकता जब तक हम अपनी प्रतिज्ञा को पूर्ण नहीं कर लेते, जब तक भारत के सभी लोगों को उनकी भाग्य रेखा तक पहुंचा नहीं देते। हम बोल्ड अग्रिम पंक्ति के एक महान देश के नागरिक हैं। हमें उच्च मानकों पर खड़ा उतरना है। हम सभी, चाहे किसी भी धर्म से संबंधित हो, समान रूप से समान अधिकार, विशेष अधिकार और दायित्व के साथ हम भारत की संतानें हैं। हम सांप्रदायिकता और संकीर्णता को प्रोत्साहित नहीं करते हैं। कोई भी देश महान नहीं हो सकता जिसके लोगों की सोच या कर्म में संकीर्णता हो। हम दुनिया के समस्त देशों के साथ शुभकामनाएं देते हैं। उनके साथ सहयोग करने, शांति, स्वतंत्रता और लोकतंत्र को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए दृढ़ प्रतिज्ञ हैं और भारत के प्राचीन, शाश्वत और हमेशा नई स्फूर्ति देने वाली हमारी अत्यंत प्रिय मातृभूमि को श्रद्धा से नमन करते हैं और नए सिरे से इनकी सेवा करने का संकल्प लेते हैं। हमें या सीख मिलती है कि कर्मशील, प्रयासरत, दृढ़ प्रतिज्ञा, दृढ़ संकल्प, समर्पण, आत्मविश्वास और धैर्य से ही मनोवांछित लक्ष्य मिलता है। जब तक लक्ष्य नहीं मिल जाता, हमें प्रयासरत रहना चाहिए। जय हिंद।
Very good, very good. Prakriti, please call on for Ritika Sharma. Is she ready? Let's check.
Thank you, Praveen. Next is Zoya Khan of class 8G, who will deliver the speech of the great Indian activist, also called Nightingale of India, Sarojini Naidu.
Good afternoon. I am Zoya Khan of class 8, and I will be delivering the speech by Sarojini Naidu, originally spoken on December 1906 at the Indian Social Conference, Calcutta, India. It seems to me a paradox, at once touched with humor and tragedy, that at the very threshold of the 20th century, it should still be necessary for us to stand upon public platforms to pass resolutions in favor of what is known as female education in India. Of all places in India, which at the very beginning of the first century was ripe with civilization and had contributed to the world's progress with women of the highest culture and the widest genius. But, as by some irony, the paradox stands to our shame. It is time for us to consider how best we can remove such a reproach. How can we best achieve something more fruitful than the passing of empty resolutions from year to year at this great moment of stress and striving, when the Indian races are seeking for the ultimate unity of a common national ideal? It is well for us to remember that the success of the whole movement lies centered around what is known as the woman question. It is not you, but we who are the true nation builders. But it seems to me that there is not even a unanimous acceptance of the fact that the education of our women is an essential factor in the process of nation building. Many of you will remember some years ago when Mrs. Satyanathan first started the Indian Ladies magazine. A lively correspondence went on as to whether we should or should not educate our women. The women themselves, with one voice, pleaded for their own cause most eloquently. But when it came to the man, there was division in the camp. Many men doubtless proved themselves true patriots by proving themselves the true friends for the mothers of the people. But others there were who took fright at the very word. What? They cried. Educate our women? What then will happen to the comfortable domestic ideals as exemplified by the luscious halwa and the savory omelette? Others there were who were neither for Jove nor for Jehovah, but for compromises. Teach this, they said, and not that. But when it comes to the matter of education, my friends, there is only, you cannot flee thus far, but only further. Nor can you say to the winds of heaven, blow not where you list, nor forbid the waves to cross their boundaries, nor yet the human soul to soar beyond the bounds of arbitrary limitations. The word education is the most misunderstood word in any language. The Italians, who are an imaginative people, with their subtle instinct for the inner meaning of words, have made a positive difference between instruction and education, and we should do well to accept and acknowledge that difference. Instruction, merely being the accumulation of knowledge, might indeed lend itself to a more conventional definition. But education is a beautiful, immeasurable, and dispensable atmosphere in which we live and move and have our being. Does one many dare to deprive another soul of its immemorial inheritance, of God's pure air which nourishes his body? How then shall a man dare to deprive a human soul of its immemorial inheritance of liberty and life? And yet, my friends, man has so dared in the case of Indian women. That is why you men of India are today what you are, because your fathers, in robbing your mothers of that immemorial birthright, have robbed you, their sons, of your just inheritance. Therefore, I charge you, restore to your women their ancient rights, and the nation shall take care of itself. Without our active cooperation at all points of progress, all your congresses and all your conferences are in vain. Educate your women, and the nation shall take care of itself. For it is true today, as it was yesterday, and will be to the end of human life, that the hand that rocks the cradle is the power that rules the world.
Thank you, Zoya. It was wonderful. Now we have with us Samriddhi Shukla of class 7A, who will deliver the speech of the great Indian philosopher Sri Aurobindo.
The topic of the speech is भारत का मिशन. भारत का मिशन मानवता को स्वातंत्र्य, समानता और भ्रातृत्व के सच्चे उद्गम की ओर पुनः निर्देशित करना. जब मनुष्य आत्म स्वतंत्र होता है, तब अन्य समस्त स्वतंत्रता उसके वश में हो जाती है. क्योंकि प्रभु स्वतंत्र है, उन्हें बांधा नहीं जा सकता. जब मनुष्य भ्रांति से मुक्त होता है, तब वह विश्व की दिव्य समानता को अनुभव कर लेता है, जो स्वयं को प्रेम और न्याय के माध्यम से परिपूरित करती है. और वह इस बोध को सरकार तथा समाज के विधान में उड़ेलता है. जब वह इस दिव्य समानता को अनुभव कर लेता है, तब वह संपूर्ण विश्व का भाई बन जाता है. और वह जिस भी अवस्था में रहता है, वह सभी मनुष्यों की सेवा अपने भाइयों के समान प्रेम और न्याय के विधान के द्वारा करता है. जब यह बोध धर्म, दर्शन शास्त्र, सामाजिक चिंतन तथा राजनीतिक अभिप्सा का आधार बन जाता है, तब स्वतंत्रता, समानता तथा भ्रातृत्व समाज के संगठन में अपना अपना स्थान ग्रहण कर लेते हैं और तब सत्य युग लौट आता है. आत्मा में स्वतंत्र रहना प्रत्येक व्यक्ति का धर्म है. सेवा के प्रति वह बाध्य हो, पर मजबूरी से नहीं, बल्कि प्रेम द्वारा उसे समाज में सेवा करने की क्षमता के अनुसार, न कि दूसरों के निहित स्वार्थ के अनुसार उचित स्थान मिले, किंतु आत्मा में वह सबके समान हो. वह अपने भाई बंधुओं के साथ परस्पर प्रेम और सेवा भाव के द्वारा सामंजस्यपूर्ण संबंध स्थापित करे, न कि दासता के बेड़ियों के द्वारा या शोषित और शोषक, भक्ष्य और भक्षक के संबंधों के द्वारा. कहा जाता है कि लोकतंत्र मानवाधिकारों पर आधारित है, इसे तो मनुष्य के कर्तव्यों पर आधारित होना चाहिए. किंतु अधिकार और कर्तव्य दोनों यूरोपीय विचार हैं. धर्म भारतीय धारणा है, जिसमें अधिकार और कर्तव्य की वह कृत्रिमता लुप्त हो जाती है जो कि स्वार्थ जनित कर्म से उत्पन्न होती है. और इस कृत्रिमता के लुप्त होने से एक गहरी और सनातन एकता पुनः स्थापित हो जाती है. धन्यवाद.
Thank you, Samriddhi. Moving on, we have Abhishek Jain of class 12th, who will deliver the speech of the Missile Man of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam.
मैं अभिषेक जैन कक्षा 12B का छात्र आपके सामने प्रस्तुत करने जा रहा हूँ. डॉक्टर कलाम का भाषण, हम भारत के लिए क्या कर सकते हैं. मैंने ये भाषण चुना क्योंकि डॉक्टर कलाम ने मुझे हमेशा प्रेरित किया है. वह एक साधारण व्यक्ति थे, पर उनके इरादे बहुत ऊंचे थे. उनसे हमें ये सीखने को मिलता है कि अगर हम अपने लक्ष्य को पक्का कर लें, तो वो चाहे कितना ही मुश्किल क्यों ना हो, उसे प्राप्त किया जा सकता है. हमें अपने आत्मबल को सदैव जीवित रखना है और जीवन में किसी भी प्रकार की कठिनाइयाँ या असफलताएं मिलें तो हमें हताश नहीं होना है और हमें सकारात्मक रहना चाहिए. वी शुड नेवर एवर लूज होप. प्रस्तुत है भाषण, हम भारत के लिए क्या कर सकते हैं. भारत के संदर्भ में मेरे 3 स्वप्न हैं. हमारे इतिहास के 3000 सालों में समस्त विश्व के लोग यहाँ आए, हमारे ऊपर आक्रमण किए, हमारी धरती पर आधिपत्य स्थापित किया और हमारे मस्तिष्क को गुलाम बनाया. अलेक्जेंडर से लेकर तुर्क, मुगल, पुर्तगाली, ब्रिटिश, फ्रांसीसी, डच, ये सभी यहाँ आए, हमें लूटा और जो कुछ हमारा था उस पर कब्जा कर लिया. लेकिन हमने किसी अन्य राष्ट्र के साथ ऐसा कभी नहीं किया. हमने किसी को जीतकर गुलाम नहीं बनाया. हमने उसकी जमीन पर कब्जा नहीं किया, उनकी संस्कृति और इतिहास को नष्ट नहीं किया और ना ही अपनी जीवन शैली को उन पर थोपने का प्रयास किया. क्यों? क्योंकि हम दूसरों की स्वतंत्रता का सम्मान करते हैं. इसीलिए मेरा पहला स्वप्न आज़ादी का है. मेरा मानना है कि भारत ने आज़ादी का पहला स्वप्न सन 1857 में देखा. हमें हर हाल में स्वतंत्रता की रक्षा करनी चाहिए उसकी जड़ों को मजबूत बनाना चाहिए। यदि हम आजाद नहीं रहेंगे तो कोई भी हमारा सम्मान नहीं करेगा। भारत के संदर्भ में मेरा दूसरा स्वप्न विकास का है। हम 50 सालों तक विकासशील राष्ट्र रहे हैं। अब वक्त आ गया है कि हम अपने आप को विकसित राष्ट्र के रूप में देखें। हम सकल घरेलू उत्पाद जीडीपी के मामले में विश्व के 5 शीर्ष राष्ट्रों में आते हैं। हमारे अधिकतर क्षेत्रों में विकास की दर 10% है। हमारी निर्धनता का स्तर गिर रहा है। हमारी उपलब्धियों को आज विश्व में मान्यता मिल रही है। इसके बावजूद हम आत्मविश्वास की कमी के कारण अपने को विकसित, आत्मनिर्भर और आत्म आश्वस्त राष्ट्र के रूप में नहीं देख रहे हैं। मेरा तीसरा स्वप्न है कि भारत विश्व की बराबरी में खड़ा हो सके। मेरा मानना है कि जब तक भारत विश्व की बराबरी में खड़ा नहीं होगा, कोई भी हमारा सम्मान नहीं करेगा। केवल शक्ति ही शक्ति का सम्मान करती है। इस चुनौती के लिए हम अपने आप को कैसे तैयार करें? हमें अपने परिश्रम से विकासशील भारत को विकसित भारत में बदलना होगा। जब ज्ञान प्राप्ति का मकसद तय होता है तो सृजनशीलता पनपती है। सृजनशीलता के फूलने से सोचने समझने का माहौल बनता है। ज्ञान के प्रकाश फैलता है और अर्थव्यवस्था फलती फूलती है। और अंत में मैं डॉक्टर कलाम के द्वारा कही गई कुछ पंक्तियां जोड़ना चाहूंगा कि जीवन में खुद जीतने से भी महत्वपूर्ण है दूसरों को जीतने में सहायता करना। फूल को देखो, वह कितनी उदारता से अपनी खुशबू और शहद बांटता है। वह हर किसी को देता है और प्यार बिखेरता है, और जब उसका काम पूरा हो जाता है वह चुपचाप झड़ जाता है। फूल की तरह बनने की कोशिश करो, जिसमें इतनी सारी खूबियों के बाद जरा सा भी घमंड नहीं है। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Abhishek Jain. Next is Chaitanya of class 8A, and he will deliver the recital of the former President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad.
मैं चैतन्य सिंघल कक्षा 8 का छात्र डॉक्टर राजेंद्र प्रसाद जी से बहुत प्रभावित हूँ, क्योंकि वह समस्त भारत को प्रगति की राह पर ले जाना चाहते थे। हमारे लंबे और घटनापूर्ण इतिहास में यह सर्वप्रथम अवसर है जब उत्तर में कश्मीर से लेकर दक्षिण में कन्याकुमारी तक और पश्चिम में काठियावाड़ तथा कच्छ से लेकर पूर्व में कोकनाडा और कामरूप तक यह विशाल देश सबका सब इस संविधान और एक संघ राज्य के छत्रसीन हुआ है, जिसने इनके 32 करोड़ नर नारियों को कल्याण का उत्तरदायित्व अपने ऊपर ले लिया है। अब इसका प्रशासन इसकी जनता द्वारा और इसकी जनता के हितों में चलेगा। इस देश के पास अनंत प्रकृति संपत्ति साधन है और अब इसको वह महान अवसर मिला है जब वह अपनी विशाल जनसंख्या को सुखी और संपन्न बनाए तथा संसार में शांति स्थापना के लिए अपना अंशदान करे। हमारे गणतंत्र का यह उपदेश है कि अपने नागरिकों को न्याय, स्वतंत्रता और समानता प्राप्त कराएं तथा इसके विशाल प्रदेशों में बसने वाले तथा भिन्न भिन्न आचार विचार वाले लोगों में भाईचारे की अभिवृद्धि हो। हम सब देश के साथ मैत्री भाव के साथ रहना चाहते हैं। हमारा उपदेश है कि हम अपने देश में चारों ओर प्रगति करें। रोग, गरीबी और अज्ञानता के उन्मूलन का हमारा प्रोग्राम है। हम सब इस बात के लिए उत्सुक और चिंतित है कि हम पीड़ित भाइयों को, जिन्हें अनेक यातनाएं और कठिनाइयां सहनी पड़ी है और पड़ रही है, फिर से बसाएं और काम में लगाएं। जो जीवन की दौड़ में पीछे रह गए हैं, उनको दूसरों के स्तर पर लाने के लिए विशेष कदम उठाना आवश्यक और उचित है। जय हिंद, धन्यवाद।
We have Ritika Sharma of class 6th from Nafrijan, who will deliver the recital of the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi.
मैं रितिका शर्मा कक्षा 6 नफरिजन की छात्रा हूँ। मैं आप लोगों के सामने गांधी जी द्वारा दिए गए 11 मार्च 1922 का ग्रैंड ट्रायल भाषण प्रस्तुत करने जा रही हूँ। मैं अपनी सजा कम करने के लिए या अपने बचाव के लिए निवेदन नहीं करना चाहता हूँ। मैं यहाँ इसलिए आया हूँ कि मुझे जानबूझकर कानून तोड़ने के लिए जो बड़ा से बड़ा दंड हो सके दिया जाए। क्योंकि मैंने जो कार्य किया है वह एक नागरिक के रूप में मेरा सबसे बड़ा कर्तव्य है और इससे मैं पीछे नहीं हट सकता। सभी तथ्यों को गौर करते हुए मैं अनिच्छा से इस नतीजे पर पहुंचा हूं कि ब्रिटिश शासन ने भारत को राजनीतिक और आर्थिक रूप से इतना लाचार बना दिया है जितना यह शायद ही पहले कभी रहा हो। अब इसके बाद मैं आप लोगों के सामने गांधी जी द्वारा दिए गए 18 मार्च 1930 को दांडी यात्रा की शाम को दिया गया भाषण प्रस्तुत करने जा रही हूँ। भले ही हमें गिरफ्तार कर लिया गया हो, पर फिर भी हम शांति बनाए रखेंगे। हमने अपने संघर्ष के लिए इस अहिंसक मार्ग का चयन किया है, हमें इस पर कायम रहना चाहिए। हम में से किसी को भी क्रोध में आकर कोई गलत कदम नहीं उठाना है। बस यही आप सबसे मेरी आशा और प्रार्थना है। इतिहास आत्मविश्वास, बहादुरी और दृढ़ता के नेतृत्व और सत्ता प्राप्त करने वाले पुरुषों के उदाहरणों से भरा है। अगर हम भी स्वराज की इच्छा रखते हैं और यदि इसे प्राप्त करने के लिए उतने ही उत्सुक हैं, तो हम में भी समान आत्मविश्वास का होना बहुत ही आवश्यक है। तो चलिए, जो हमारी सरकार की किसी भी तरह से सहायता कर रहे हैं, चाहे वह कर देकर हो, सम्मान या उपाधि लेकर, या फिर अपने बच्चों को आधिकारिक विद्यालयों में भेजकर सरकार से अपना समर्थन वापस ले लेना चाहिए। इसी के साथ स्त्रियों को भी पुरुषों के साथ कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर खड़े होने की आवश्यकता है। इस भाषण से हमें यह सीख मिलती है कि आदमी को सत्य के मार्ग पर निडर होकर आगे बढ़ना चाहिए। हमें विपरीत परिस्थितियों से भी दृढ़ संकल्प, सच्चाई एवं शांति से अपना कार्य करना चाहिए। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Ritika. Now we have with us Muhammad Anas Qureshi of class 7E, who will be delivering the oration "Freedom is my birthright" by the famous leader Shri Bal Gangadhar Tilak.
Good afternoon, one and all present here. I, Muhammad Anas Qureshi of class 7E, am here to share my learning that I have imbibed from this igniting young soul session. I express my gratitude to all my respected teachers for giving me this great opportunity to be the part of this inspiring session. While I went through all the speeches of these visionaries, their teachings touched my soul. I chose Sri Balagangadhar Tilak ji's speech because it instilled me courage, divinity, self-confidence, and a deep instinct for desire for Swaraj. Here's one of the most popular speeches by Sri Balagangadhar Tilak on the first anniversary of the formation of the Home Rule League in 1917 at Nashik. I am young in spirit, even if my body has grown old. The young spirit inside me is still alive. Whatever I am saying today is deeply felt by this young spirit inside me. The body can break, it can decrepit, or even perish, but the soul residing in the body is forever young. Similarly, if our home rule activities slow down, the freedom of our inner spirit cannot sustain and no longer will it be indestructible. Then we ourselves will start believing that we are slaves. Freedom is my birthright. I will not be old as long as it is alive within me. This feeling of freedom, no weapon can cut this, no fire can burn it, no water can drown it, and no wind can blow it. We are asking for home rule and we will get it. The science of politics teaches us that we cannot achieve through slavery what we can through home rule. The political progress is the pillar of a nation. I want to invoke your soul that yearns for freedom, which will only happen through the political progress. Who doesn't understand the meaning of home rule? Who doesn't desire it? According to some people, we don't have a right to home rule. The British are ruling over us for the past century and they say we are not fit for home rule. We all must save the soul of a nation from this custody of foreign rule. We have to toil for it, but it is our birthright to protect our nation. The Congress has passed this home rule resolution. Some selfish interests oppose India's demand for home rule in practical politics on the pretext of several issues threatening our country. One such issue is illiteracy, but together we can eradicate it. Remember, such issues can only be solved with cooperation. It will be sufficient for us that even the illiterate in our country have a dire desire for Swaraj. Let it be the strength of all. Those who can easily complete their work can be illiterate but not foolish. They can be as intelligent as any literate person. Literacy cannot be the parameter of intelligence. It is not that difficult to attain Swaraj. Thus, illiteracy can never be the obstacle in the way. Our uneducated brethren are equally important as the country's home rule. They have equal rights. The circumstances changes in no time. Today, only one voice echoes, now or never. Therefore, we must take advantage of this opportunity given to us by God and should put our maximum efforts in the struggle for home rule. Turn not back and confidently leave the ultimate issue to the benevolence of the Almighty. Thank you.
Thank you, Anas. We now have Akul Bhardwaj of class 7B who will deliver the speech of the CEO of Google, Mr. Sundar Pichai.
Good morning, everyone. This is Akul Bhardwaj from class 7B, presenting you a very inspiring and meaningful speech said by Sir Sundar Pichai. In Dear Class 2020, you will prevail, specially dedicated to the students of 2020. In this time of COVID-19, we all are locked up in our homes and cannot go to schools. Also, we cannot work properly as we used to do. But we cannot give excuses to the future generation as they will judge us on our success and not what we have lost. So we have to keep going and look what we have achieved, not what we have lost. Sundar Pichai said, and I quote, "Be open, be impatient, be hopeful. This is what which inspired me the most. Thank you."
Thank you, Akul. Now, I, Prakriti Singh of class 9A, would like to deliver the recital Crisis of Civilization by the famous Bengali poet Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. A very good afternoon, respected teachers and my fellow mates. My name is Prakriti Singh and I'm from class 9A. I have chosen Sri Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore's speech, that is the Crisis of Civilization. This is primarily because I could feel the sentiments of the speaker, and Sri Rabindranath Tagore has also been my inspiration. In this speech, Sri Rabindranath Tagore has emphasized upon the fact that losing faith is a grievous sin a man can ever commit. He believed that faith is the bird that feels light when the dawn is still dark. Now, I would like to begin with the speech. As I look around, I see the crumbling ruins of a proud civilization, strewn like a vast heap of futility. And yet, I shall not commit the grievous sin of losing faith in man. I would rather look forward to the opening of a new chapter in his history after the cataclysm is over and the atmosphere rendered clean with the spirit of service and sacrifice. Perhaps that dawn will come from this horizon, from the east where the sun rises. A day will come when unvanquished man will retrace his path of conquest, despite all barriers, to win back his lost human heritage. Today, we witness the perils which attend on the insolence of might. One day shall be borne out the full truth of what the sages have proclaimed. Adharme nedhate tavat tato pradhani pashyati, tatah saptanan jayati samulstu vinashati. By unrightness, man prospers, gains what appears desirable, conquers enemies, but perishes at the root. Thank you.
Very good, Prakriti. Children, I would request, you have learned these speeches, you have rehearsed these speeches, so rely on your memory, children. You should not take help from the paper or speech in front of you, okay? Rely on your memory. You are very good. You have rehearsed so well, okay? So try doing that.
Now we have Aditya Mishra of class 9A who will deliver the speech of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Tryst with Destiny.
Good afternoon, one and all. My name is Aditya Mishra and I study in class 9A. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's historic speech on the eve of independence, Tryst with Destiny, is widely regarded as one of the great speeches of the 20th century. It had it all: soaring rhetoric, a shrewd understanding of the power of language, and a sweeping sense that this was a speech for the ages. The speech honored both the sacrifices of the past that had led to this moment and laid out a vision for the future. A future that still had to be written as a country, a civilization that took rebirth. It belonged to the present and the future. Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny. And now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge, not wholly or in full measure, but very substantially. At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and to freedom. A moment comes, which comes but rarely in history, when we step out from the old to the new, when an age ends, and when the soul of a nation, long suppressed, finds utterance. It is fitting that at this solemn moment, we take the pledge of dedication to the service of India and her people, and to the still larger cause of humanity. At the dawn of history, India started on her unending quest, and trackless centuries which are filled with her striving and the grandeur of her success and her failures. Through good and ill fortune alike, she has never lost sight of that quest or forgotten the ideals which gave her strength. We end today a period of ill fortune, and India discovers herself again. The achievement we celebrate today is but a step, an opening of opportunity to the greater triumphs and achievements that await us. Are we brave enough and wise enough to grasp this opportunity and accept the challenge of the future? Freedom and power bring responsibility. The responsibility rests upon this assembly, a sovereign body representing the sovereign people of India. Before the birth of freedom, we have endured all the pains of labor, and our hearts are heavy with the memory of this sorrow. Some of those pains continue even now. Nevertheless, the past is over, and it is the future that beckons to us now. That future is not one of ease or resting, but of incessant striving, so that we may fulfill the pledges we have so often taken, and the one we shall take today. The service of India means the service of the millions who suffer. It means the ending of poverty and ignorance and disease and inequality of opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya. Moving on, we have Aditya Jain of class 9C, and he will deliver the recital of the great Indian nationalist, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose.
Good afternoon, one and all. I am Aditya Jain from class 9C, and I am going to deliver the speech, Give Me Blood, and I Shall Give You Freedom, by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. I chose this speech because it has left an indelible impact on me, an iconic speech given by a stalwart who committed towards ensuring India is free and leads a life of dignity. By delivering his powerful speech, I'm committed to fulfilling his ideals and creating a strong India. It will be a fatal mistake for you to wish to live and see India free simply because victory is now within reach. No one here should have the desire to live to enjoy freedom. A long fight is still in front of us. We should have but one desire today, the desire to die so that India may live, the desire to face a martyr's death so that the path to freedom may be paved with the martyr's blood. Friends, my comrades in the war of liberation, today I demand of you one thing. Above all, I demand of you blood. It is blood alone that can avenge the blood that the enemy has spilled. It is blood alone that can pay the price of freedom. Give me blood and I promise you freedom. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya. Now we have Shlok Verma of class 6th, who will deliver the speech of the great Indian industrialist, Mr. Ratan Tata.
Good afternoon. I am Shlok Verma of class 6D. Today I am going to deliver Ratan Tata ji's speech on Make a Difference Once in Your Life. I chose this speech because he worked very hard to reach his goal and work peacefully. I think most people in their career have moments of disillusionment or sense that they don't know where are they going. And I think those moments of disillusionment hit all of us at any one time. A person that has not to face any difficulties, I think, ends up being a person that's unreal person in the world because he doesn't know how to deal with difficulties. You look at the world around you. Where did Microsoft, where did Apple, where did Amazon, where did Google, and where did Facebook come from? They came from ideas that people felt something could be done, where individuals started in garages, where ideas were born and they could make a difference. You, in the years ahead, are going to be leaders of this country and shaping the destiny of this country. In many ways, we have been critical of what has not happened to our country. How many times have you heard people say this can't be done? Do not grow with a view that something can't be done and so should not be done. It's your job to remove those myths and get things done. As you grow in your organization, you will find that you get lonelier and lonelier, and your decision is eventually a lonely decision. You should do what you believe is right. It may be the wrong decision or the tougher decision. It may be the tougher option. But if deep inside you know it's the right for the right reasons, not for the wrong reason, then you should go ahead and take it. And I would hope that you look at being ethical and holding the value systems which you want this country to have. Your whole world is going to be learning and listening. Your success is going to be your humanity. If you speak or sit next to a Nobel laureate, he never tells you that he won a Nobel Prize. Other people tell you, let humility be your best defense. So as you go out in this world, you need to ask yourself, how are you there? Are you there for money? Or are you going because you really want to make a difference in the world by what you do? You need to give back to society some of the learning you have done to do something to your country and for society. And you shouldn't consider yourselves successful based on prosperity you gain for yourself, but you should go and sleep at night feeling that yes, I have made a difference. That difference is something each one of us can make. We'll have failures, we'll have frustrations, but it's a continued commitment that we have to the world around us, to ourselves, and to the people of India. Thank you.
Thank you, Shlok. Next is Sarthak Mishra of class 7D, and he will be delivering the oration of Guru Gopal Das.
Good afternoon, one and all present here. I am Sarthak Mishra of class 7D, and today I will deliver the rendition of famous spiritual leader Guru Gaur Gopal Das. I decided to choose this speech as the values preached in this speech deeply influenced me. The optimistic approach, hopefulness, and gratefulness that all of us should possess can all be imbibed from this actuating speech. It really ignites our souls on the quest of our true self. So now, let me begin with the speech. Have any one of you ever had, while taking soup, coriander leaves or basil leaves stuck in your tooth? Have any one of you ever had mango fibers or a tail of a fennel seed stuck in your tooth? It is quite amazing that when something is stuck in our tooth, the tongue just keeps going there until and unless that stuff is out of our tooth, and it just keeps going there. Now, there are 31 other teeth in our mouth where nothing is stuck, but the tongue does not go there. It is just the nature of the tongue that it incessantly focuses on what is stuck and not on what is not. Well, it is not just the nature of the tongue. Isn't it the nature of the mind as well? When there is a problem or an issue stuck in a certain area of our life, the mind keeps going to that problem and gets obsessed with the negativity to try and deal with it. But there are always a plethora of good things happening in so many different areas of our life where there is no problem stuck. Yet the mind neglects them and goes to those areas where there is a problem. Hence, it is necessary for all of us that we focus on the good that is happening in our life and deal with the bad or the problems that are happening in our life. Let us not consume our minds with negativity. Let us consume our minds with positivity. I always say, count your many blessings and name them one by one. It shall surprise you what the Lord has done. There are many good things we have been blessed with. Let's all be extremely grateful. And therefore, I say, gratitude is the attitude which gives us the fortitude to deal with the toughest challenges in our lives. So, be grateful, be positive. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarthak. We now have Tanisha of class 6F and she will deliver the recital Try to be Real by Sri Aurobindo.
Hello everybody and thank you for taking out time to listen me. My name is Tanisha Srivastav and I study in class 6F. Today I am here to deliver the speech of Sri Aurobindo. I have chosen this speech as it talks about the strength within us. This speech touched my heart. Sri Aurobindo also said that there is nothing mind can do that cannot be better done in mind's immobility and thought-free stillness. When mind is still, then truth gets a chance to be heard in the purity of silence. So let us now start with the speech. Try to realize the strength within you. Try to bring it forward so that everything you do may not be your own doing, but the doing of that truth within you. Try so that every hour that you live shall be enlightened by that presence, that every thought of yours shall be inspired from that one fountain of inspiration, that every fault and quality in you may be placed at service for that immortal power within you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanisha. Now we have with us Vani Singh, who will deliver the oration of the great Indian politician Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel.
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम वानी है। मैं कक्षा 8 की छात्रा हूँ। 12 अक्टूबर सन 1947 दशहरे के उपलक्ष्य में भाषण देते हुए सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल जी ने कहा कि दुनिया भर में जितना इल्म है उससे ज्यादा हमारे लोग में दिमाग है, लेकिन हम संगठित चल नहीं सकते हैं। व्यक्तिगत अलग अलग अपनी राय रखते हैं, वो नहीं चलना चाहिए। हमें समाज को संगठित करना चाहिए। तो वो चीज करने के लिए पहले तो हमें आज कोई भी झगड़े का काम हो, हिसाब का काम हो, टंटा का काम हो, उसे छोड़ देना चाहिए। 5 साल काम कर लो और हम लोग तो अब बुजुर्ग हो गए हैं। हमारा काम तो गुलामी में से छुड़ाना था, तो वो तो अब पूरा हो गया है। लेकिन उठाने के लिए नौजवान तैयार ना हो तो फिर बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगी। तो यहाँ नहीं है कि हमारे नौजवानों में दिमाग नहीं है, दिमाग तो बहुत है, तेज है, ज्यादा ही तेज हो गया है, उसी में मुसीबत होती है। तो हर चीज में हम एक एक प्रकार की सबकी गलती निकालने में हमारा दिमाग आगे चलता है। तो एक क्रिटिकल गृहस्थी हमने बनाई है कि हर चीज में हर चीज की चेष्टा करना, टीका करना उसके ऊपर, लेकिन हमें कोई व्यवहारू चीज करनी हो तो फिर हम किताबें देखते हैं, कि किताबों में क्या लिखा है, उससे काम नहीं होगा। वो तो हाथ पांव चलाने की बात है। तो जो व्यापारी लोग हैं, उनके साथ या उनके पास जो इल्म है, वो इल्म भी आपकी मैदान पड़ा है, उसमें जितना काम आप कर लो, परदेशियों के समय में करते थे उससे ज्यादा करने को मौका आपको मिलेगा। वो हमसे डरते हैं, हमारा उस पर भरोसा नहीं है, हम उनका भरोसा नहीं करते हैं, तो इस तरह काम नहीं चलेगा। एक दूसरे का विश्वास पैदा करना चाहिए, तब काम चल सकता है। तो मजदूर का धनिकों के साथ झगड़ा, प्रांत प्रांत का झगड़ा, तो इस तरह से हम आपस में झगड़ा हम सब आपस में झगड़ा करते रहेंगे तो काम नहीं चलेगा। तो हमारा काम यह है कि हम हिंदुस्तान में कोई भी प्रांत के पड़े हैं, हम हिंदुस्तानी हैं और हमारा प्रथम कर्तव्य है हिंदुस्तान की हिफाजत करना, हिंदुस्तान की रक्षा करना। सबको साथ लेके ऐसे राष्ट्र के पर्व पर पहले हमें जब आजाद थे जो खुशहाली थी, उसी प्रकार की खुशहाली को प्राप्त करना, मिलजुल कर सबके साथ काम करना। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Vani. Last but not the least, we have Palak Bhandari of class 7B, who will deliver the speech of the former Prime Minister of India, Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee.
सभी को मेरा नमस्कार। मैं पलक भंडारी कक्षा 7B की छात्रा हूँ और आज आप सबके समक्ष मैं भारत की रत्न अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी के शब्दों को बोलने से पहले अपना अनुभव व्यक्त करना चाहूंगी। सबसे पहले मैं सभी का अभिवादन करना चाहूंगी, अपने इष्ट देवता को धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगी कि मैं इस जयपुरिया परिवार का एक हिस्सा हूँ। प्रत्येक वर्ष कहना तो गलत ही होगा, प्रत्येक क्षण मैंने इस परिवार से कुछ न कुछ अच्छा अनुभव किया है, सीखा है। सभी शिक्षक का मुझे हमेशा सहयोग मिलता आ रहा है। इस इग्नाइटिंग यंग सोल ग्रुप के माध्यम से मैंने ही नहीं, हम सब ने ज्यादा से ज्यादा फेमस इंडियन पर्सनालिटीज को जाना है। अभी पढ़ते वक्त, सभी को सुनते वक्त मुझे अंदर ही अंदर गर्व सा हो रहा था, हो रहा है और हमेशा होता रहेगा कि मैं एक भारतीय हूँ, भारत में जन्मी हूँ। मुझे यह भी सीखा मैंने कि आप अपनी मेहनत से, अपने काम से प्रसिद्ध होते हैं, फिर बाद में दुनिया आपको आपके नाम से जानती है। मैं भी आशा करती हूँ कि इन्हीं लोगों की तरह मैं भी अपने देश का, अपने परिवार का और अपने विद्यालय का नाम रोशन कर सकूं। इसी के साथ मैं आगे बढ़ती हूँ। 17 अगस्त 1994 को वर्ष के सर्वश्रेष्ठ सांसद से सम्मानित हुए भारत रत्न अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी। उस अवसर पर अटल जी ने अपने भाषण में कहा था कि मैं अपनी सीमाओं से परिचित हूं, मुझे अपनी कमियों का एहसास है। निर्णायकों ने अवश्य ही मेरी कमियों को नजरअंदाज करके मुझे निर्वाचित किया है। सद्भाव में अभाव नहीं दिखाई देता है। यह देश बड़ा अद्भुत और अनूठा है। किसी भी पत्थर को लगाकर, किसी भी पत्थर पे सिंदूर लगाकर अभिवादन किया जा सकता है, अभिनंदन किया जा सकता है। यह लोकतंत्र 49-51 का खेल नहीं है। लोकतंत्र मूल रूप से एक नैतिक व्यवस्था है। संविधान और कानून सबका अपना महत्व है, लेकिन लोकतंत्र एक ढांचा मात्र बनकर रह जाए, एक कर्म कांड में बदल जाए, उसकी प्राण शक्ति घटती जाए तो वहां कठिनाइयां पैदा हो जाती हैं। उस प्राण शक्ति को घटने ना देना हम सबकी एक जिम्मेदारी है।
मैं आप सबको हृदय से धन्यवाद देता हूं। मैं प्रयत्न करूंगा कि इस सम्मान के लायक अपने आचरण को बनाए रख सकूं। जब कभी मेरे पैर डगमगाएं, तब ये सम्मान मुझे चेतावनी देता रहेगा कि इस रास्ते पर डावाडोल होने की गलती नहीं कर सकते। अब अटल जी की कुछ पंक्तियां मुझे याद आ रही है, ध्यान से सब सुनिएगा। हार नहीं मानूंगा, रार नहीं ठानूंगा। हार नहीं मानूंगा, रार नहीं ठानूंगा। काल के कपाल पे लिखता मिटता हूं, गीत नया गाता हूं, गीत नया गाता हूं। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Palak. It was a pleasure listening to you. Now, I would like to invite Ma'am Anjali Jaipuria and Ma'am Promni Chopra to speak a few words.
When one becomes speechless, then there are no speeches coming out of us. This was really a beautiful experience of hearing our students speak so beautifully, and what an array of leaders and speeches. It was very, very beautiful and very beautifully done, and very aptly chosen, small, short passages. Very beautiful. It was a very good attempt. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, children. And thank you so much, Anjali ma'am, for suggesting, for giving the idea to make the children understand the value of speeches. And Archana ma'am, my immense gratitude to you for bringing the children on board and taking this initiative forward. Children, you did it so beautifully. If I were in your place, I would not have been able to learn so much. And when you learn something, then it remains a part of you all your life. When it is in your thoughts are developed accordingly. And that is how these speeches will become inspirational with you. Otherwise, you'll keep on thinking, oh, somebody said this, I don't know who said it. And it will fade from your memory gradually. So I'm so glad that ma'am had suggested this, and you understood its importance and you began learning them. And you did not think this is not to be marked, so why should I bother? So therein lies your growth, and I am truly grateful to all of you to understand the importance of something that the school wants to do for you, but all the thoughts are meaningless if you do not understand their virtue and their value. Thank you, children, for beginning, for being a part of this initiative.
Ma'am, I prepared something on your birthday. Can I speak?
Please, I'll be honored with everyone's permission.
Yes, please. Looking
The
forward.
only divine working up there sends people down here, gives some of its traits to some people. There are somewhere around us. We only know some of them. Their qualities are from the divine. They worship him with all the efforts, but never seek from him, which is the biggest virtue, found in some without any purity, hid by many problems, but do not show them. We have seen only some of these supernatural forces in the shape of living beings. No science describes them, no stories make them famous, no math to apply, because they're already solved, or it would shuffle them without leaving any sign. Happy birthday, Promini ma'am. Happiness always. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. How did you put such beautiful words together? I don't know. Amazing. Amazing at such a young age you've done this, but truly grateful, child. Truly grateful. Thank you so much.
I would like to share one thing, Anjali ma'am, Pramini ma'am, that this time children chose their speeches almost on their own, just wherever there were repetitions we suggested. And in Hindi speeches, I must admit, there were issues, and teachers had to support children for pronunciations and all, but they actually practiced. And in every practice session, we could see the improvement. So, ma'am, I would like to clap for these children. they really worked hard. Hindi was more difficult than English, and at times we say that Hindi is easier, but it was the other way around over here. So they did it very well, no doubt. And credit goes to you that you showed this part to us, Anjali ma'am, and how hard they worked. And almost all the time they said that we are influenced. What Pramini ma'am said just now, children kept on talking about it in practice sessions, that these words will stay with them. Some of them said that they had goosebumps when they were reading it again and again. So the purpose is, I believe, this only, but yes, these things have touched them somewhere or the other. And I believe children will agree. As you were telling yesterday, now share your views with Anjali ma'am and Pramini ma'am. They're there with you.
Very beautiful. Actually, natures are very moldable at young age. And when we read the biographies of great personalities, it brings about, our nature, the formation of our character, all that starts getting imprinted by the lives of great people. So it's very important also to read some biographies.
Yes.
If we can think about that, how to bring the children closer to reading biographies of great people.
Ma'am, I love to read biographies of the early people, ma'am, because ma'am, I read the biography of Manikarnika. Ma'am, it was so motivational to me. So I took this book and I paid this book because it was so nice to read, and I read the whole book.
Your voice is cracking.
So ma'am, I bought a biography of Manikarnika, ma'am. That was a very nice and very motivational to me.
Fabulous. Manikarnika was somebody else. Now that you've read Manikarnika, what you should read just close to this is read Joan of Arc. Find out the biography of Joan of Arc and how she was led by the divine. She was just a farm girl, a shepherdess, and she heard voices, and the voices said she has to save the country and she has to fight at the head of the army. She had never learned warrior. She was never a warrior. She had never learned how to use weapons. But then, because the divine was leading her, you should read it. It's in our library, but that's a little higher version, a more difficult version. If you want to get that, you can get it from Mona ma'am, or else you can just read the biography of Joan of Arc. It will be a very good parallel with Manikarnika.
Ma'am,
Yes.
for next session, we can use this idea. In fact, very fabulous suggestion, ma'am. We can give them these biographies. They can choose rather.
They can choose, huh?
They should learn some excerpts which they are influenced, and they should recite them.
They should not recite. My suggestion is, it's a good idea that we do this next time, but they should tell us the story in short. They will learn how to do précis.
Can be done, and I believe
what has influenced them about their life.
Yes,
for instance, I am totally influenced by the life of Sri Aurobindo. Boy, where from education in London, in Great Britain, to coming back, and then phenomenal. I mean, I'm very, very influenced by his life. So I think that's a good idea. Let's do that next time.
Yes.
How many of let me put it on. Yes. So tell me, how many of you would like to be part of that initiative? Great biographies. And we'll all choose different people so that we get to hear so many stories. Yeah? Fantastic. Too good. And after that, you know what I want to do? After that, what I want to do is I want that all of us come up with one fabulous story. Short ho ya thodi lambi ho, but a story which uplifts the consciousness. Yeah, either it should be a story of illumination, or it should be a story of love, compassion, sweetness, tenderness, or it should be a story of heroism. Yeah. So either illumination or love or heroism. Okay. Or perfection, somebody who's leading us to perfection, some story which leads us to perfection. And this will take care of our 4 houses: wisdom, strength, harmony, and perfection. Okay, na?
Yes, ma'am.
So, what should we do first? Hands up for those who want first biographies. Okay, just so few. Okay. That's a lot. And then after that, stories. Oh, who wants to start with stories first? Okay, everybody wants to do biographies first. Done. Done. So we are going to do biographies next, right?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Great. Great.
Ma'am, because biographies are very interesting. They are just like a story only. That they so much. Ma'am, if we read them and if we just get that in our mind, we don't need to learn that. We can say it on our own words also.
We should say it in our own words only.
If the person does not have a life or some story that would inspire or motivate us, it would not be in a book. So I get caught up in the book and I can't stop reading until I get to know the solved mystery or something in which I'm caught up. So it's really interesting and mysterious to read a book of someone's life, and you can relate to their life. You put yourself in that character.
Fantastic. Absolutely. You put it so beautifully, Samriddhi.
I was saying that we can imagine that we have not lived our half lives, and once we read the biography of a great person, the whole story of his whole life, then how much we will get inspired by his life, then we can pave our ways in the future.
Yes, it will pave our way. I'm going to tell you a short story after I hear Aditya. Yes, Aditya, you were saying something.
Personally, I always don't have time to read those lengthy novels of biographies and all. So, ma'am, I just read the Amar Chitrika versions. They're pretty engrossing. They're pretty short and sweet, and they tell the story in a very good manner. And ma'am, the first biography I actually read was of Roald Dahl. It was of two parts. First was Boy Tales of Childhood. Then the second was Going Solo. Honestly, ma'am, I know that my views may contradict, but I couldn't. But it was not very inspiring, not very heroic, and it was not relatable at all. Basically the only twist that happened in his life was when his plane crashed in the middle of the Sahara Desert, and he just walked in the desert for a few days to find shelter and then meet up with the squad. That was the only part of it I found inspiring. But ma'am, that was enough for me to just know that sometimes like we do not have a team or anything to fall back on, so we may need to just carve our own paths in order to find even safety, the most basic of rights.
Yeah, so it's not necessary that every story of every great person who's been called great was actually great. So this is one very good example that Aditya has given. Oh, Aditya has beautiful insights, very beautiful insights.
Another one.
He's a thinker because he reads so much.
Ma'am, you just said that that they are not actually great sometimes. Ma'am, the first name that comes to my mind when I think of this is Thomas Alva Edison.
Yes.
Ma'am, most of his inventions were stolen, and he basically tried to refute Tesla's claims, and he basically tried everything he could in order to just cut the roots of Tesla. Tesla went bankrupt in 1917, so I think that Edison succeeded. Ma'am, I had just read this
So
online.
you are going to tell us the story of Edison now.
Ma'am,
not now. I mean, when we do
yes,
that.
ma'am, I prefer Tesla because, ma'am, there was one thing I read that if you think that life has to be fair always, then just remember that we live in a world where Thomas Alva Edison's last breath is preserved in a test tube, and while Nikola Tesla's science lab was burnt as soon as he died.
Great.
I just wanted to say that whenever we will do this session, I have always wanted to read My Experiments with Truth, which is an autobiography of Gandhiji. So if anyone has ever done it, I would like to get a review.
No, I mean, if the world has read My Experiments with Truth, so you don't need a review. I mean, unless you want a review from a student, the whole world has spoken about My Experiments with Truth. So go ahead. Gandhiji has been chosen. It cannot be chosen by anybody else.
Yes,
yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes, Zoya. Yes, Zoya.
I personally, last week, I finished reading the biography of Frida Kahlo, and she was a phenomenal woman. I'm really inspired by her.
Yeah.
Like how she was bedridden with polio and 6, and then she became one of the most famous women names in the world.
Wow, Frida Kahlo chosen, take, go when gone.
Ma'am, even I have read the stories of Greta Thunberg,
Oh,
the
nice.
famous environmental activist. Ma'am, she's such a
Yeah.
phenomenal woman. She worked so
Yeah.
much for trees and ecosystem.
And not woman, girl, huh?
I just want to ask you something, and my mother was also curious that how did you know about the Sri Aurobindo ji? How were you influenced by him so much?
Okay, that would
Any
be
incident must have happened.
in very, very short. I will tell you that's the story. In a way, you're asking the story of my life. So, I used to live in Kanpur, and yeah, I was married in Kanpur. And in 1991, I did a dance drama, a long dance drama of 1.5 hours, in which I was Mirabai. And that dance drama influenced my life very much that I fell in love with Krishna. And in 91, middle, I moved to Delhi. And then I started having a lot of queries, spiritual queries. And I went to one guru, you know, the Swamis types. And they would only talk about ye maya hai, ye, this is all illusion. You are also maya, you're also an illusion. And I could never gullet it, you know, I didn't believe it. So then I went to another guru, and then I went to another guru, and I was quite disillusioned. And then I came to know about Kirit Joshi ji. And I went to him with the same question. I went to the question that everybody tells me I am Maya and the whole world is an illusion. And I don't believe that. I need to know the truth. What is the truth of this world? And what is really the purpose? Why has God created this world? At that time, I believed that God had created the world. And then meeting Kirit Joshi ji took me to Sri Aurobindo, and the answers one after the other. It was like magic moments every time I was allowed to meet him once a week. He didn't have more time, and I would drive all the way to Preet Vihar. And my God, those moments were so precious. I came to know that God didn't create the world. I said, what? He said, yeah, God didn't create the world. This world is not a piece of art where the artist is somewhere else. God expanded and he became the world. And then he gave me the verses from Mundaka Upanishad and this Upanishad and that Upanishad to show that the Vedic rishis had heard it, that the divine became the world. Then regarding the purpose of life, I read Sri Aurobindo. He took me to Sri Aurobindo, in short. And it was most beautiful moments of my life that I spent with him till 2014, when he left his body. But he's still there all around.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
does
ma'am.
that
Thank
answer
you
your
so much for
question,
sharing.
Palak? And going to Pondicherry,
Yes, ma'am, sure.
someday we would like Palak to go to Pondicherry. It is the most amazing experience to be in Pondicherry. There would be some students here who have gone, maybe, no, someday. Really,
Ma'am, I was
really.
planning to go this year, but due to all these constrictions, I was not able to go. But surely I'll go next year.
I'm sure you will go. By next year or the year after that, maybe I have my apartment there, and all my children, my teachers are welcome to come and stay in my apartment. It has been bought only for you. It will be bought only for you all. So you can go and stay comfortably without having to stay in a hotel. Okay?
Mama has made a drawing in lockdown.
Oh, please show us, Shlok.
Ma'am,
Beautiful.
I have made Buddha. He is in meditation. And ma'am, he is Ganesh ji. And ma'am, he is Shiv ji's nag. And he is all the water. And he is the nature god. Ma'am, this I made.
Beautiful, Shlok. It's really beautiful. Very beautiful. So, you'd like to hear the story? Maybe most of you have heard the story earlier. I'm just repeating it for those who've heard it. So, there was this grandfather, and he used to be reading the Bhagavad Gita by the fireplace. He used to live in Himachal or somewhere, you know, it was very cold. And he used to be reading the Bhagavad Gita sitting by the fireplace. he had this grandson who was just 6-7 years old, and used to ask his grandfather, why do you keep reading for hours this Bhagavad Gita? I also want to read whatever you are reading because I want to become like you. So the grandfather got a Bhagavad Gita for children for him, and he started reading it. Now, as he became older, he got better versions of the Bhagavad Gita and better versions. When he was around 17, around 10 years later, he came to his grandfather and he said, Grandpa, you told me to read the Bhagavad Gita. I've been reading it for 10 years. I don't see much change in myself. I've not become like you. You're such a great person, such a lovely person. I haven't become like you. So the grandfather said, I'll answer your question. You first take this basket which is holding the coal for the fireplace, and you go and get some water in it from the nearby river. So he said, getting water in a basket? He said, yeah, you just go and get water in this basket. So he didn't question his grandfather, and he rushed with an empty basket, the coal basket, to the river to get water. He came back. As he was coming back, obviously the water had gone. It was a basket. So the grandfather said, maybe if you go a little faster, when you come back after filling the water, if you run a little faster, you'll be able to carry some water. So this time he tried that. And again the grandfather would send him back, maybe this time a little faster. Maybe you will bring some water. He did this 7-8 times, and finally the 17-year-old, you know how 17-year-olds are, said, Grandfather, you're pulling a prank on me. Dadu, I'm not going to do this. I'm not a fool. How can you get water in a basket? I'm not going to go anymore to the river. Grandfather said, the work is done. He said, what work? He said, look at the basket. Tell me, is the basket the same as it was when you started getting the water? And he looked at the basket. The basket was black because it had held coal for so many years. And now the basket was shiny. The inner light was shining out of the outer basket. It had become so bright, squeaky clean. And he said, this is what reading the Bhagavad Gita or reading any good text, whether it is reading the Quran or it's reading the Bible, whatever, or reading some great masters, reading the biographies of great people, memorizing beautiful speeches, what is happening? All the outer is getting washed and cleaned and becoming squeaky clean. And what will finally happen? The light of our soul within will actually find this porosity outside. Everything has become clean and shining, and through the porosity, the light of the soul will shine out of us, out of our brains, out of our hearts, out of our body. So this is my story.
Thank you, ma'am. So beautiful.
Thank you.
Ma'am, we always feel so grateful to just listen to these stories and listen and be in a part of these sessions. Like I cannot present my gratitude here, but from my inside, I'm feeling so great that I cannot tell. Like all the values of different leaders. Like Anshu ma'am told me, all art is interpretation. We interpret the speech of another person, and we imbibe it in our lives. So there are 20 different speeches which we have heard, and if at this age, like Jaipuria School is leading us to such a great height, we are very fortunate to be a part of such a school which leads us not only to study but also leads us to discover what is within us.
Beautiful. I'm so happy that you are recognizing what all this work is actually leading you towards. That's so beautiful, Sarthak. And I feel so happy when I hear how you participate in everything that's put before you. You're never short of time. You're never short of any initiative because you have all the time in the world because you really want to reach perfection. And it's this quest inside you which will lead you to great heights. Very good. Keep the quest shining inside you. Yeah? Keep
Thank
the
you so much,
flame of
ma'am.
aspiration
Yes, ma'am.
burning always. Very
Yes,
nice.
ma'am.
Very
Ma'am, I have just written 8 lines on gratitude showing towards the school and all the teachers. Ma'am, may I present it? If you
Yes,
allow.
please.
Ma'am, I have written, when we are engulfed in darkness, and are finding a way to abide. Gratitude, like hopefulness, will become a light and guide. The eternal spirit of gratitude should be sown, cared, and grown. Then only will we stand with fortitude and achieve a great milestone. So rekindle the gratitude spirit, and your goals will become perceivable. For you will become a better caring person, and your heart will never be irretrievable. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now that we're talking of gratitude, can I ask how many of you children have seen the movie The Secret? It's a very short documentary. I'm sure Aditya must have seen it. No, Aditya? That's surprising. Okay, so children, here are two books that I strongly recommend, and it's very fast reading. There is the book The Secret, and you can even just see the movie 2-3 times. It will be equal to reading the book, The Secret. And after you've seen the movie The Secret at least 2 times, if not 3, then I would like you to buy the book The Magic. Either on Kindle, I prefer hard copies. I love underlining, writing notes on the side. हम उस जमाने के हैं जब किताबों के पन्नों को छू करके बड़ा मजा आता था. So then buy yourself the book The Magic by Rhonda Byrne. Yes, and don't read it very fast. Read only 1 chapter a day. 1 chapter a day, and the next chapter you can peek into, but don't read it. And whatever homework is written at the end of the chapter, do it and see how your life becomes better and better and better. It's already beautiful, but it'll become phenomenal. And this is my promise to you. If you follow the book, The Magic, and thank you, Sarthak, for bringing gratitude into the picture so I could remember this. Buy yourself the book, The Magic, and do 1 chapter at a time. Do the homework exactly as it's written. Follow it and see magic happen in your lives. I've seen it happening in mine. Yes?
Ma'am, The Magic is the 3rd part of The Secret.
I think so. The second part, kaun si thi? The Power or something.
Yes, ma'am, it was The Power.
I find as if, you know, when a writer, like the writer, I'm forgetting the name, somebody, Dr. Brian Weiss, he wrote one of the most phenomenal books, Many Lives, Many Masters.
Many Masters.
है ना? So that book was phenomenal, but it sold so well that the second book that he wrote seemed absolutely unreal. It was not right. He just made up things. While Many Lives, Many Masters seemed to be absolutely stories, true stories of his patients.
Brian
Weiss, W-E-I-S-S, however you pronounce. I don't know the right pronunciation.
Books, Many Lives, Many Masters is the best, man. No doubt.
Yeah, it's too good. But Abhi, we are going to see the movie, The Secret. It's a documentary. See it 2 or 3 times. And meanwhile, before your book, The Magic comes. Okay? Next time when we meet, let us see who all, किसके जीवन में कुछ really में magic हुआ उस किताब के कारण. ठीक है?
Okay, ma'am.
And you know what? I just want you to know what your school is doing. Asha ma'am के साथ I've had long discussions, and because the magic is about gratitude, so we are including. We have always had gratitude as part of our playgroup, LKG, UKG, 1-2 classes, grade 1-2. But now we are making it as much more as so that it turns into a habit of children to be grateful. We don't remember how we can be grateful to the sun. We can be grateful to the bird. When we look at a bird flying, doesn't it make you feel so happy? What all gives us happiness? That gratitude ki habit, we are trying to make it as a practice through playgroup. I mean, from playgroup through up to class 4 or 5. So that gratitude becomes a habit in our children. Okay?
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
You're doing it, no?
Yes, ma'am. Teachers had started doing it before Diwali.
Oh, wonderful.
Before
Wonderful.
Diwali only. And I've got this book also, ma'am. The one, The
I
Power
don't
by
know.
Rhonda Byrne.
No, ma'am. We have a problem.
I haven't put. Acha.
No, ma'am, when we order The Magic on Amazon, aati hai The Power, which is wrong.
Ma'am, I haven't purchased it. Geeta ma'am has given it to me. She has both.
But you need the
She has
magic.
both.
The power is okay.
So I'll start with the magic.
Yes.
She has both, and she's read both the books.
Okay. But
Ma'am, it
reading will make an real effect. Will have an effect on us only if we do the exercise at the back of every chapter. Yes, somebody was saying something. Samriddhi?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I was just expressing my gratitude towards all of you. You all are doing so much, starting with playgroup, as you just said. So all the children who are getting to study in the school are really, really special and have been treated so nice by their teachers. So thank you so much to all of you for this session and for doing all that you do for us. I know how tough it is to be a teacher because you have to take care of everything. So thank you so much to all of you.
Thank you, Samriddhi. Thank you for expressing your gratitude. Thank you so
I
much.
just wanted to share my opinion on something Sarthak had said.
Yes, Aditya.
Ma'am, actually, about Greta Thunberg, I really like her as a person. I really admired the guts. Like, she's 17 and still she's just spearheading the climate movement. But one thing I don't like about her is that, number one, you can't just go to the General Assembly and then publicly try to humiliate the world leaders. Like, they command respect. There is some sort of decency missing there.
Okay, but sometimes, I agree with you. I totally agree with you that they are world leaders, but sometimes even world leaders need to be shaken up. And she did that shaking up. Doesn't God shake us up? When a cyclone comes or a corona comes, what is God doing? He's shaking us up.
Ma'am, but he's free to do that. We're his creations.
Yeah, so the creation has to imitate the Lord. Sometimes we need people who shake us up. The world leaders are sitting tight on their seats. What is the US doing about the environment? Nothing. They don't care a zilch.
Ma'am, they're all concrete forests.
Then don't they need to be shaken up just because they're US leaders? Can they just sit where they're sitting without doing anything about it? Europe is doing much more work than US is doing. And I really don't have any idea about what China is doing.
Ma'am,
I'd rather not think about China. Yeah? Somebody else was saying something?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, and apart from that, Greta Thunberg has Asperger's syndrome, which makes it especially difficult for her to have social interactions. And apart from that, she has the courage to stand up to everyone.
That's exactly what I admire about her. But ma'am, one more thing, just a little bit. I don't like, ma'am, she's extremely good at pointing out what's going wrong, what all went wrong in the past, what will go wrong in the future, and what's currently happening wrong. But ma'am, she's not giving any solutions. Ma'am, this has been pointed out by many media outlets, many people, that while she is doing the thing she wants to do, that is pique the interest of the younger generation, the future, into the climate change, climate activism. What she's not doing is she's not suggesting sustainable methods to actually counter the problem she addresses. So ma'am, I really respect her for just leading a whole generation into this, and no one is able to stop her. Ma'am, I really
Yes,
respect her
so
for that.
then that's lot to respect of a 17-year-old activist. It's phenomenal. And she's pointing out the problems. Now, what are the world leaders doing? With their experience, should they not be able to look at the problem and find a solution? Even the solution is supposed to come out of the 17-year-old.
Ma'am, it is so good to see that a 17-year-old teenager is observing so much into the world affairs. And it's not always important that the world leaders are always right.
Yeah, so she's shaking them up and telling them, hello, wake up. Do
Yes,
something.
ma'am.
What are you giving to us?
Ma'am,
This kind of inheritance we don't want. Yeah,
And
Aditya?
Ma'am, currently a certain world leader who had tweeted in 2014 that the difference between leaders and winners is that winners are actually able to cope with loss well, and he's currently trying his all to overturn a loss. So that's what the world leaders are currently doing right now.
All of them are.
At her age, Aditya, you know, this is the age at which you can bring about a change because you are not diplomatic, you're passionate. And she did not start it just like that. First, she asked her parents, you know, she asked them to follow a certain lifestyle. Do you know this?
Yes,
I'm sure
ma'am.
you
Yes,
must be
ma'am.
knowing it. She asked them to follow a certain lifestyle, reduce their carbon footprints. Okay, and then she got into this business of talking to the world leaders about it because she had experienced that this is possible. So I really like this about her, that she made her parents go through that experience and then feel, okay, this is possible. At her age, there is more of passion and bring about a change rather than becoming diplomatic as world leaders are. You know, they look at so many things and that's how they destroy the world and ruin the world. So perhaps, you know, her candidness is because of her age, where passion and the drive to change is too strong. And that is why we really want you people also to understand these speeches. I'm not saying you get inspired by them, but this is for you to reflect upon and think of where am I supposed to take my life and what changes do I need around me? Because you are in that age and you are much more courageous, you know, than people of a later age where people weigh the pros and cons too much. Sometimes when you take the plunge, you're able to bring about a change. So that is why you.
Fantastic.
So beautiful.
Ma'am, like as it is said, be the change that you wish to see in the world.
Yes. So, ma'am,
Yes.
Archana, ma'am, I would like you to note down now two, three things.
Yes,
First, we've decided on biographies.
Noted, ma'am. Noted.
Then, second is stories.
Yes, ma'am.
Illumination, love and harmony go together, and heroism.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
the third is going to be sustainable changes that we will bring in our life for making the environment better than it is.
Okay, ma'am.
And each one of us, what we do matters. So let's come up, you, ma'am, in school, come up with things that can be done by us. Hum kya kar sakte hain?
No doubt.
Right? So please, children, put your heads together, put your brains together, come up with a whole plan of action. Yet this much you and I will do. At least this group will do.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Like something as simple as turning the tap off while we are brushing our teeth, or turning the tap off while we are cleaning our hands with soap. If we can do just that much, making our helpers and our mothers turning the tap off when utensils are being washed. Itna choti cheezein. Let's come up with things that are doable. Because if one of you changes, one person changes his whole family around him, he will bring about a change. You will soon have a family, you will have your own larger family. One person will be a center of so many changes. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's
sure, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, we will have to transform ourselves to make a difference in the surroundings.
Absolutely, you're 100% right. If we don't change, we cannot ask. When we ask people to change, they are not going to change.
Ma'am, like Sarthak said, be the change you want to see in the world.
You know why this, how this works? Because when you started doing something and you started doing it with passion, then you start, when you speak about it, it comes from the soul. It doesn't come from the brain. When we speak from the mind, it does not enter into another person because it's not going soul to soul transmission, right? So we have to do something, become that, and then it will come from the soul and will directly be perceived by the soul of the other.
Yes.
I think
Yes,
it's lunchtime. I think it's lunchtime for everybody.
Yes.
Our
Ma'am,
conversation.
just a little bit. I just want to share something, ma'am. As the seniors are not actually a part because they're busy with their syllabi and their studies. But
Yeah.
yes, they have been reading Magic and Power, and they're really, really impressed, ma'am. Like by word of mouth, one girl reads, the other boy reads, the other girl reads. So it's passing by. Before COVID, they were really reading these books, seriously, and they were loving it.
Nice. There is something called the
They were
gratitude
really
club.
reading it.
There's something called the gratitude club started by two young people. They must be 40, 45 in Jaipur. And they have this 1 month course in which it starts at 6 in the morning and finishes by 8 in the morning for 1 month. And they do one chapter at a time. and they drive it home because they're practicing it themselves.
Okay.
So you can check that out also. Okay.
Prakriti, please invite Aditya.
Once again, Archana ma'am, in this, there's Varsha ma'am, Varsha Trivedi ma'am. She has a group called Crusaders for Change.
Okay.
So when you, yes. So please contact her also in this initiative because she had begun work in the school with relevance to this. Remember, children, she was addressing you people in the assembly. That group addressed you people in the assembly when the school was open. All right, so they can begin the work since even if the physical school is closed.
Yes, ma'am. I'll certainly.
And we can do both these things parallelly, the biographies and the environment.
Yes,
yeah,
will be done.
All right, great.
Prakriti, please invite Aditya.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words. With this, we come to the end of today's edifying session, and I'm sure all of us had a great learning experience. We now have Aditya Mishra presenting the vote of thanks.
Speech has the power to change lives. And this power is magnified when words come directly from the minds of the ones whose lives inspire us and whose struggles and sacrifices have freed us all. Today's session was a profoundly enlightening experience, and I would like to thank each and every person who contributed in making this happen. First of all, I would like to express my profound gratitude towards our Honorable Vice Chairperson, Ma'am Anjali Jaipuria, for giving us the opportunity to organize this inspiring event. Without her giving origins to this wonderful concept, we would not have been present here. I also take this opportunity to show my sincere gratitude towards our dear principal, Ma'am Promini Chopra, for being a constant guiding light and a pillar of support to not only the students present here, but to all the students who have been part of this institution. I wish to convey my wholehearted regards for our Vice Principal, Ma'am Asha Chadha, under whose able guidance and nurturing we could become capable enough to successfully execute this event. Also, I would like to heartily thank our respected academic coordinator and innovations head, Ma'am Archana Mishra, for overseeing this event from origination to execution. Without her constant help and required directions, today's session would not have been executed to perfection. I want to express my gratitude to all the teachers who have been a part of this event. Without their hard work, constant involvement, and inspiration, today's event would have never taken the shape it did. Also, my heartfelt gratitude towards Suresh sir, without whose technical expertise, the organization of these meetings would have been unfeasible. Last but not the least, to my fellow students who articulated the thoughts of the great personalities of India so perfectly. Your words have truly captured the imaginations of the leaders who continue to inspire us to this day. I would like to thank everyone for making this session a learning experience for me and my friends. We have surely taken away some great life lessons and will try our best to implement them within us. Immense gratitude for igniting our souls.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Very well. Prakriti, you did a fantastic work. The way you guided the whole thing was beautifully done. Aditya, thank you for your vote of thanks. It was immaculately done. Thank you, Archana ma'am. Thank you so much. It was done very, very beautiful. Thank you. 1 minute silence and gratitude.